Hey guys, welcome to the Coffee and Coaching Podcast. I am Coach Kamara.
I'm Coach Jack G. We hope you enjoy today's episode. We hope you take a lot of value away from it, and we might even make you laugh a little bit.
We started this podcast to help empower and inspire you to take control and create the life that you want to lead.
But remember, everything we say is our opinion. We're not medical professionals. So if we talk about anything that you want to implement into your life, please go and speak to your doctor first.
If you enjoy the episode and you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe, share it with anyone that you think might take value from it. And if you can share it on your social media, it would be massively, massively appreciated.
That's enough of that. Let's get into today's episode.
Martin, what's happening?
Isaac, good to see you. Jack, thanks for asking us in.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know who you are, Martin, can you give a quick introduction?
Okay. So my name's Martin Bone, or when I'm teaching, I sometimes introduce myself. I am in the form of Martin Bone. And I suppose as much as I don't like labels, I'd probably label myself as a meditation teacher. If someone was to ask me what you do, I'm also a business owner. I own Planet Yoga with my dad and his partner on Smithdown Road. We've been doing that for 10 years. I'd probably say I'm a proud Scouser, and I'm a father.
Yeah.
That's like I would probably introduce myself.
I want to interject because you're not. Martin is.
Yeah. Well,
So basically, I've done one of Martin's courses, right? And I remember in the first week, someone, I think we were introducing ourselves, and the first person said something like, they said the name. No, sorry, they said, I am this, I am, and you just went, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Whatever your name is that.
Yeah.
But you're separate to that.
Yeah.
And Jack said, got kettled, and I tried to explain
Mid-podcast,
it.
he tried to explain this to me, and I was like, right.
Hang on, bit heavy this.
What are we talking? Stop the episode. What have you just said? Go back, explain that to me. Let me get my head around it.
Yeah.
So Martin's a meditation teacher, and you were in the form of Martin Bone, but you are not Martin Bone.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny, especially like with the sort of the ecosystem of stuff that I teach in Liverpool. People come with the level 1. That's where I always invite people to start, really. You know what I mean? And it's like a course for life, I've called it, and it's a wide, pragmatic understanding on like mindfulness, really, and meditation, and how the mind works and human behaviour, and I've sort of decorated it up with a few other bits and bobs. And at the start, I introduced myself. I am in the form of, and then you see like a few people's eyes are like, okay, you know what I mean? I've never heard of that one before, you know what I mean? And then we have like a small share at the start, and I ask people, who they are, what got them there, what's brought you here, whether it was like social media or a recommendation or or whatnot, and then I asked them, why do you think you're here? Because why people think they're here and why people are really there can be two different things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then when we go round, I invite people to say, I am in the form of, and then your name, and how almost weird it might feel just saying it, you know what I mean? Because people say, oh, my name is, and then when they say I am in the form of, it actually starts a process of understanding and revealing and potentially remembering our nature, and then later on in the course, when I start to unravel and speak about the nature of awareness itself, it starts to make sense for people, do you know what I mean? So I almost throw a curveball in at the start, like I am in the form of, and then later on, I talk about, that statement and go into a lot of detail, and give people then an intellectual understanding of their nature, and the beautiful thing about meditation is that you then have direct experience, when you create certain conditions of your nature, of presence and this sort of eternal aliveness that's always sort of sitting there in the background,
Yeah, 100%. I think I'm looking forward to this conversation because you obviously, you know where I'm at with meditation and all that. Jack uses meditation as like a clinical tool to get the job done.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're both in, like, you're at that level, I'm sort of in the middle, and then Jack's like, well, no, actually, that creates me going high to low creates the suggestion that your version is lower. It's just we're just all in different places.
On the outside, looking in at the moment.
Yeah.
Of where my understanding is of how you see meditation and spirituality and stuff like that. So some of the questions that I've got for you today are for me to get a deeper understanding of that.
Great.
And then all the listeners can obviously just
Yeah.
Because I think that's something that you wanted to speak about as well, isn't it? Something we both spoke about before, is that there can be almost like a barrier to entry for getting into medication.
Yeah,
getting into medication.
Take some medication. It's all good.
To get into meditation and to like anything to do with self-awareness and personal development, there can be that barrier to entry. There was for me for a long time, wasn't there? So being able to answer some of those questions and hopefully break down those barriers for some people.
I think
really powerful.
In Liverpool especially, like, the culture is, you have to do what everyone else does, otherwise you're a fucking muppet. You get ostracized from your friendship group. Yeah. So like, when people don't, when a new idea is presented, like, you can try meditation, you know, people are like, nah, fuck that, it's not what I know. Yeah. I'm gonna look like a muppet in front of all my mates. Like, and there was even people on the course that were saying that, like, I'm growing as a person and everyone else is looking at me thinking, you're a fucking weirdo. You've gone crazy. Yeah. So like, one of the questions I had, which we may as well jump into now, is like, you as a meditation teacher in Liverpool, how do you find having conversations with people when they ask sort of what you do, and how do you try and break down those stereotypes? Or do you even try? How do you try and break down those stereotypes?
Well, I think, I've come to a position where, you know, I'm not here to explain myself, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I sort of tend to, I'm not really preaching at all, do you know what I mean? I'll tend to pull the trigger if there's an interest, you know, and not that I'm here to do it justice at all, do you know what I mean? You know, I think when people show an interest, I mean, meditation or mindfulness, it's a bit more trendy nowadays, you know, so it's almost become a trend, which is a good thing as well, you know what I mean? I think probably a few things. One, that it's trendy. Two, we've just sort of come off the back of a 2-year sort of experience of like lockdown, you know, so to speak. So I think naturally people were leaning towards like self-development, self-care. And you know yourself, being a coach, you know, it's not just about like the physical package anymore, do you know what I mean? It's probably getting under the skin with people, getting into people's mindset, you know, looking at people's attitude and inevitably looking at people's lifestyle, do you know what I mean? And so when you look at the broader term of styling your life, I think, you know, if you can start to add in, you know, even taking out the word meditation and maybe just replacing it with mental fitness, you know what I mean? You know, just like, and even when you say mental fitness, you're going to capture more people's attention, you know, because there is a misconception, especially in our culture or especially in Liverpool, where people just think, okay, meditation, not for me. And you're like, well, and even if you ask the question to somebody, well, what do you perceive meditation to be? And after time, they won't even fucking be able to answer the question. So, you know, they just jump and react onto a word where they have absolutely or very limited understanding of what it is. So I think for me, as a teacher, you know, my job is to try to transfer these concepts in a way that the sort of, I suppose, normal stereotypical bloke from Liverpool and woman can really grasp, you know what I mean? Because inevitably we're all looking for something. We are all searching for something. And I mean, on probably the deepest level, or even the simplest level, it's very much on the surface. We're looking for a sense of self. We're looking to feel connected somewhat, you know what I mean? And so we then move towards certain cultures to feel connected to whatever that is, you know, whether it's Liverpool, you know, like Liverpool Football Club, do you know what I mean? That's, that's just an example of some sort of culture that people move towards to feel a part of, you know what I mean? Because there becomes a commonality, you know, where people have a commonality between each other, and then we can connect because we're sharing the similar interests. So I think in terms of meditation, for me, giving people some very pragmatic tools, digestible tools and transferable tools to really get a grip on how you can create your own mini culture in your lives. You know what I mean? That's the big one for me. We are living in many different cultures. Come back to Liverpool Football Club. That is a cult. It's a culture. Do you know what I mean? And so within having a strong sense of mindfulness, which is, or mental fitness, which is cultivated through some simple active practices on a daily basis, it can give us a sense of wakefulness. It can give us a sense of I'm awake and present. Yeah. And then from within that state of attention becomes action. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Most people, when they wake up of a morning, they actually start to run a program very quickly because they tune out. Yeah. And they tune out because of a lack of vigilance, a lack of mental fitness. So when you tune out, you're running a program. You actually are not conscious. You're running a subconscious program. And the subconscious is the storehouse of all of our habits. And all of our habits come from basically from the moment we leave our mother's womb. Over a very long period of time, we become a set of behaviors which have been conditioned by our environments, our peers, our parents, our culture, so there's almost a limited belief system that we adhere to and then we live by. So we literally, and we get yesterday and put it onto today, and that it's that age old saying, same shit, different day. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And so meditation or mindfulness or mental fitness gives us the opportunity to actually snap out of the dream that we live in each day, and put a full stop on our limitations. Yeah. And within that state of presence, we're then in an opportunity. To move beyond our limitations, move beyond our mental constructs, our fears, and move past our own bullshit as well. Do you know what I mean? Like people are just, regurgitating, limitations and bullshit. And I think if we can, take ownership, like meditation's it's gonna shine a mirror. It's like a mirror, and you start seeing a lot of your own behavior, a lot of your own movie, really. Yeah. And then within that, cleaning up your act, living your own dreams, moving towards something that is purposeful to you, but also taking ownership, which is an empowering experience rather than actually laying blame. Everyone's just fucking everyone's competitive, everyone's comparing, and everyone's pointing fingers. Yeah. And so mindfulness gives you the opportunity to go, right, I'm looking in the mirror now. This is my stuff. Yeah. And how can I, I'm starting to notice the unnoticed, you know what I mean? And examine the unexamined, and okay, I've got work to do here, do you know what I mean? Well, and that's growth. Yeah. That's where growth is.
We recorded a short episode, so any listeners listen to this will be coming out next week, just before you came in, Martin, and we were speaking about 3 tools to bring about more self-awareness. Obviously, meditation was number one. And it's like that, just reflecting in the mirror back at yourself and just being able to watch these thoughts pop in and go, oh shit, well actually, that's a little bit painful. I'm going to let that sit. I'm going to process that thought. I'm going to actually be honest and authentic with myself. Like that's something that I properly need to work on. Yeah. And that's holding me back, but you can't see that until you actually begin
until
to
you
practice,
are more
because
aware.
you are just in a subconscious routine, just going through life, just following what society is just laid this path out for you, just going through, living, speaking, and just doing everything that you've been told. Yeah. And then when you actually start to meditate, I think, so for everyone listening, the More Than Muscle program, Martin is kindly joining us. He's going to deliver a meditation intensive, and you're basically, I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, but there's going to be an event for each of the 5 pillars. Your one is spirituality. The slogan that I've put for spirituality is basically, I'm getting these hoodies printed. Katie's doing it. It's going to be sick. I'll send you one when we get them. You can have one as well, Martin, if you want. Thank you. But the thing is to create clarity and live in authenticity. Yeah. Because we just follow, as I said, what society's laid out for us. When we actually are able to create the conditions where we can actually just see ourselves and live in authenticity, then we can actually start to shape the life that we actually want, rather than just doing what society's told us.
Yeah.
You're supposed to. So the car comes to mind straight away. So I've just sold my car and bought a shit banger from 2005. So I'm just like, why do I need this car?
Yeah.
Just because society says when you start making a little bit of money, you should get a nice car. It's like my ego wanted to hold on to the car.
Yeah.
But I let it go because it's a better decision, because me living in authenticity, looking at what I actually want for my life in the future, I can now go, right, well, I can let go of this thing that my ego wants, because that's not important to me. I'm actually going to be authentic and make a decision that is against everything that society's telling me to do.
I'll jump in there if that's for a minute.
Of course.
Like, obviously, awareness. You know, we're talking about self-awareness, and awareness is like a muscle. You know what I mean? And if you learn how to train that muscle, then you check back into life quicker, and you're able to hold that, you know, attention for longer. And within that awareness, you know, gives us the opportunity to reflect or to contemplate. You know what I mean? And when we actually have a look at the life that we're living, we're actually probably, most people are living other people's lives. You know what I mean? So, you know, it then takes courage to be like, right, okay, I'm living somebody else's life here. I'm subordinating to a life that's, you know, being constructed by others. Do you know what I mean? You know, and so that I, you know, use the term, we've been socially constructed, you know what I mean? And that's to adhere to a set of values, you know what I mean? To work a certain amount of hours a week, to pay into a pension. And underneath all that, it's really, you know, we're fitting into a model that for me is outdated and uninspiring and disempowering. And as a man, demasculating. So, you know, when we have this stronger sense of awareness, you know, and then begin to reflect upon our own experience, then we can move towards a place which is self-constructed and not socially constructed. And that comes where we start to recreate our current reality. But you've got to be courageous enough to be judged by others. You know what I mean? I mean, people are going to judge you anyway. So you might as well live an authentic life. Do you know what I mean? You might as well step into your own truth. And then, you know, not just recreating your current reality, but stepping into a healthy egoic identity, you know, which feels authentic, and then living a life of want-tos and love-tos, and designing a culture around the things that you love and desire. And then if you can schedule them priorities and find a level of sustainability with that and consistency and disciple your life, that's the sweet spot. And for me, that's the flow state. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, people actually don't believe that that's available to them. You know what I mean? Their self-worth is so limited that they adhere to other people's values. So it does take courage to reflect upon your life and then to start living your own culture, create your own mini culture. That's for me then a life which is driven by purpose. You know, that I'm, you know, and I only have to look at my own life first and foremost and how I navigate my days. You know, using a sense of awareness to make skilled choices based around the things that I want to do, the things that I love, the things that I desire, and then I just basically place them priorities into a schedule through the week. So it's all in order. So it's a matter of creating order. And when we create order, you become less polarized and you become a lot more neutral. And neutrality isn't a state of boredom or inertia. It's actually a state of freedom. You know, the Buddha speaks about the middle path. And so when we rest in more of a neutral ground, we become, you know, at the level of the body as well, more proactive and less reactive. And you know, and once we start living that life where we feel like we're in flow and we can sustain it, then you start to cause a great effect outside of yourself, you know what I mean? Because you tend to probably less play the victim and blame and shame others, and actually feel into more of an empowered mood, you know what I mean? Where you're enthused by life, you're causing a great effect, and you're having fun in that process, you know?
I think when you actually do all that, you live authentically. Yeah. You naturally just step into your own greatness.
That's right.
Naturally. So like, for example, I'm now running this More Than Muscle program. it's been something that's been on my mind probably for like 2 years, but I've finally created the conditions where like now I can step into that.
Yeah.
And now people's lives are going to be changed through you.
Yeah.
Through all the other guest speakers that are coming in. There's like financial advisors coming in, like everything's, it's going to be a massive transformation in people's lives, more so than just getting in boss shape.
Yeah.
And that's because I've had the courage to live authentically and start creating these conditions.
Yeah.
For someone who's living according to like society's values, someone who's deep within that world still, who wants to break free, who wants to live authentically, who wants to grow and be more, where do they start?
More muscle program. Hey, it's starting in August.
Yeah. Nice.
Shameless.
Yeah, you got to sell yourself, man.
Shameless.
I think first and foremost, like, you know, it's a good question, and it starts with a sense of willingness for me. You know what I mean? It has to come from a personal will to want to change. Do you know what I mean? Some people are not, I mean, who am I to say that, like, some, you know, there's people just so entrenched in the matrix that they're so fast asleep that they don't know otherwise. Some people are incredibly happy and in flow being in a system. You know what I mean? Being guided by others, you know, and you know, resting in the comforts of you know what life gives us. You know what I mean? So, and that's fine. I think when I certainly look at the world, and I feel as if, you know, a lot of people do rest in this place of comfort, and within this comfort zone and being socially constructed, and underneath that there's a lack of self-worth. And so when there's this lack of self-worth, you know, we tend to be more prone to like addictions, or we'll reach for things for instant gratification, you know, whether that's social media, or we wait for the Friday to feel good because it's like, wow, I've got some free time now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So coming back to it, it starts with personal will, and within that, you know, it's potentially starting to recreate a current reality. And for me, that starts with habits, you know, some sort of identity-based habits, you know, of wanting to do something different. You know, and that's not just mentally, that's emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Do you know what I mean? And it's, you know, small steps can become enormous over a period of time. You know, so you've got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? I think having an attitude of just, you know, starting and taking some steps forward and designing some sort of routine, that's where it begins. And when you do that, you start to reprogram your nervous system, and you also start to shed skin. But you've also got to be prepared to let go of an old identity, do you know what I mean? An old way of being. Yeah. So I think certainly it starts with some healthy habits. It starts with a personal will, and then that extends to some action, you know. And then once you act upon it, and you start to get a taste of maybe this new reality, it's about sustainability then, but there's no destination with it. You see, I think if people have an attitude that actually this is a journey-driven life. Instead of thinking, right, I've got somewhere to go. Yeah, it's nice to have signposts. It's nice to have goals and to have an aspiration to move towards things. But inevitably, it is a journey of change. You know, I'm shedding skin all the time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, it's not like, I'm there now and I've smashed it. It's just like, actually, I've just gone from one belief system to another. And then we go from another belief system to another belief system. And that is an opportunity. You've got to have an open mind to be able to constantly learn, you know, new things, but also be prepared to let go of old things, you know what I mean? And that's the dynamism of life, you know what I mean? Things come, things go, you know, and if you're open-minded enough to challenge your own belief systems and to try new things and to step into a state of becoming, then that's all good. But it just starts with will, starts with awareness, and then it extends into action. And, you know, you'll validate that by the experience itself. You know, if you do the experience and you get some results from it, then you're validating it. You're thinking, okay, this feels good.
Yeah.
So it's about feedback as well, you know what I mean? And feedback comes with reflection and contemplation, but it also comes with other people. You know, we can't just give ourselves feedback. We need feedback from others. And if you've got close enough friends who are going to tell you the truth, sometimes, as I said before, we can't just always see our own movie. So it comes from other people. So it's having the courage to say, listen, call me out, hold me accountable.
Well, I want you to, so I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to call these people out, because, right, that's a great question. So there'll be people listening to this who know that they want more, and it's a boss answer. That's what they need to hear. There'll also be people who are triple blind, which I said to you the other day. There's people who don't know what they don't know, so they needed that answer.
Of course.
There's also people who don't even know that they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
So they need to understand. So I want you to speak to people who know, who sort of aren't even aware that they're unhappy. They're not even aware that they're going through this social construction.
Yeah.
And they need to just be called out almost. And like, what are some of the signposts that you are deeply unhappy, but you may not be aware of that?
Yeah. Telling lies is a big one. You know what I mean? People tell lies all day, every day. And it's only to validate their own belief systems, or it's to protect their own image, or project their own image, you know, to promote the image. We either protect it or promote it. And so, you know, people will deny that they are unhappy. No, I'm sound. You know what I mean? Think positively, do you know what I mean? And they're lying. You know what I mean? So it starts with, and we're the only species that tells lies. Do you know what I mean? You know, so.
Laughing at my dog.
Yeah, the good liars, you know what I mean?
Who ripped that up?
Not me. You know, so I think it takes courage to take ownership, you know what I mean? And we'll do anything to deflect the truth, because the truth fucking hurts. Do you know what I mean? The truth isn't a nicely packaged truth. It's ugly, it's sticky, it's grungy. Do you know what I mean? And if you can really, and it comes back to looking in the mirror, you know, we go, you know what? I'm telling lies, but I'm not telling lies to the world. I'm telling lies to myself, and that extends out to the world. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a difference between telling lies and withholding the truth as well. So there's just a slight difference there. But if we can, you know, it takes, again, courage, accountability to say, you know what? Wow, I'm lying to myself here. Do you know what I mean? You know, and you can't get away from that. And then how much you want to keep lying to yourself. We're in the end, because that is not integrity. Do you know what I mean? And so it's about going, all right, I'll tell you what, I'm telling the truth. Some people are not going to like it because we're afraid of being judged by others as well. So what we do is we wear masks and tell lies just to keep face. Do you know what I mean? When really, you know, telling the truth actually upsets others. You know what I mean? So you've got to be prepared to tell the truth. You know, and for me, that's where you end up in authentic relationships with others then. Not just in an authentic experience with yourself, but you have, you know, your circle probably becomes smaller. But there's also an extension of respect from others where they like, this guy just tells the truth. And it's sticky and it's grungy, but you know what? That's where it's happening. It's hard telling the truth, you know what I mean? You know, even now, like for me, you know, we all tell little white lies, you know what I mean? Because we're just protecting the image, we're protecting the ego. Because when we're called out, the ego is deflated. And straight away, as a primal instinct, we want to inflate the ego again. You know what I mean? So and if we can, because the last thing we want is to be humiliated. Do you know what I mean? So we can, and that's what happens when there's a sense of truth. You feel like there's a humiliation of the ego that I'm wrong. Do you know what I mean? Because the ego just wants to be right all day, every day, and it does everything in its power to validate or to cover all bases, so it's never wrong. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of this comes, you know, again, self-awareness. You know what I mean? To know I'm telling lies here, but it's a blind spot for most people, as a triple blind spot. You know what I mean? And so if you can notice it yourself, or if you can have someone close to you who's going to say, lad, you're full of shit. I'm calling you out. You know what I mean? Pack it in. You're lying. Come on, let's get the truth out. Let's spit the truth out. And I think as well, it is hard because we are also blamed and shamed for telling lies. You know what I mean? And it's such a courageous act, and it's a vulnerable one. So, you know, you've also got to be prepared to, you know, not just be humiliated, but to be maybe shamed by the people around you. But there's growth there as well.
That's what I was about to say. It's like most people struggle to grow because they can't go through that initial vulnerability.
I think I spoke to you. Sorry to cut you off. Go on.
No.
I spoke to you about one of my clients at the moment in this situation. It made me think of it as you were saying that, about a couple of things that you said today, where he's surrounded by his friendship group who aren't growing. He's come to me and I've seen him transform. He's had a shift in his mindset. He's gone from this fixed state, and as you can see that the self-belief coming of, I probably can be more. There's more potential to me here. Like I can do more. But he's in this circle of friends who aren't thinking that way you are. Lying to themselves and lying to the group. And I can see, he's shown me some of the messages in the group chat. You know what lads' group chats are like. They're like clawing him back, or like trying to claw him back, because for me, his growth and his change is highlighting their insecurities, and they were unaware of it. They were in that state. They were triple blind, where they didn't see. They were just going through the motions. They were just following the social norms. They go for a drink on the weekend. They give each other shit in the group chat. And now one of them has gone, I don't want to do that anymore. That's not making me feel good. I'm going to step away from that for a little bit. So he's watching the football, but he's not drinking. But he's watching the football and he's only having a couple of drinks, or he's not going out because he's going to the gym instead. And he's getting shit for that, and obviously that's affecting him massively because that's his friendship group, that's the people he's close with. For me, trying to communicate that to him, that's not you. That all you've done by you changing is shine, and you've shone this light on all of these people in your group who are now going.
Well, they're probably looking at it, seeing his decision to step away from that is him rejecting everything that they are.
Part of that,
they're
of course.
Almost offended by it.
They're offended by there's a sense of abandonment and rejection. Do you know what I mean? And that actually comes underneath all that. We all feel abandoned and rejected, you know, because there's wounds. You know, we have these wounds from childhood. You know, these blind spots, and so, you know, within these circles, you know, when someone is actually starting to break free or to be empowered to change it up or mix the bag up or do something about their life, people, you know, most people at a primal level will go, who do you think you are? Or fucking where do you think you're going? You know what I mean? Because then it's showing them their own insecurities. It's shining the light on their behaviour, which tends to be immature. You know, it tends to be uninspiring. And I'm not saying like being around the lads is uninspiring. Do you know what I mean? Like, because, you know, we love man time. But I think there becomes a sell-by date, you know what I mean? Where for a man, it's like, well, when are you actually going to fucking step up? You know what I mean? You know, because there's most men who look like men, but they're actually still navigating life from the psyche of a little boy. Do you know what I mean? Acting like little boys, you know what I mean? Behaving like little boys. And for anyone, you know, maybe listening to this going, who this fella think he is, I'm calling you out, you know what I mean? Stop being a little boy. Like, fucking step up, do you know what I mean? Like, it takes time to become a man though as well. You know, I'm 38 and I'm still going through initiation after initiation, do you know what I mean? And I still fuck up. I'm holding my hand up. I still tell lies, do you know what I mean? And I still behave like a little brat sometimes. You know, I'm not like a fucking, you know, I'm not like up there, you know, I still have moments of insecurity and disempowerment and that's okay. I capture them moments and I honour them and I work with them, do you know what I mean? And this is a call to step up, do you know what I mean? But it's not just for men, it's for women, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we all love to have fun. Do you know what I mean? We all love a bevy. I love a bevy. I love being surrounded by, you know, good people and I love to celebrate life, you know, eating good food and maybe getting on the dance floor and going on holiday. But, you know, within all that, don't just wait for them moments, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's the day-to-day grind. In fact, it's not a grind. It's just the day-to-day lifestyle, do you know what I mean? Of how we're empowered to not just live a selfish life, you know what I mean? And to squeeze what can I squeeze out of today? I think with a deeper state of awareness, in the end, you're thinking, wow, actually, I'm selfish. And it's actually a scarcity mindset, you know what I mean? Because you don't think there's enough for everybody else. So this abundant mindset is when you start going, actually, there's enough for everybody. You know what I mean? And I want to celebrate you. What can I do for you? You know what I mean? And I'm actually, wow, what you're doing is great. You've empowered me. You've inspired me. You've called me out just with your actions. And so, for your clients, he's probably going to get some shit. You know what I mean? And he might have to let go of some of his group. Do you know what I mean? You might have to, and that's okay. Like some people just go, well, this is our group. We went to school together and no one's getting in, no one's getting out, and it's fucking limited and it's childish. And it's just like, actually, you meet new people, you make new friends. You've got to be prepared to meet new people. There's loads of people out there that, that are ready to meet you and be coherent with the vibration you're now adopting. And so, you're not just got to be prepared to let go of an old identity. You've got to be prepared to let go of people. Do you know what I mean? And that can be scary. That can be scary, because we don't like being alone. You know what I mean? So we end up subordinating or putting masks on just to fit in because we are afraid to stand alone. But when you stand alone and get into that and honour your own needs, you end up attracting new people into your life as well, or you bring people with you. Do you know what I mean? You're swimming towards the light and people are like, I want to go where you're going. You're inspiring me. What are you up to? And you go, well, I'm doing this, and this. Do you want to hang out? Because
if you stay in that environment and you put the mask on, you're only surrounded by the people who are attracted to the mask. You're not actually attracted to the person that you are now becoming. You shed that mask. And crack on, and you actually start attracting people who are on the same journey as you.
And people are going to judge you. Oh yeah, he's full of shit. Who does he think he is? But actually, they're the people who, underneath all this, want it. They want it so bad. Do you know what I mean? And it just takes that, like, when people come to me and they'll be like, you know what, when I first met you or when I thought about you a few years ago, I judged you. And then next minute they'll come and do some work, you know what I mean? Not necessarily it's always with me, it might be with somebody else. There's loads of beautiful coaches out there, or they'll create their own mini culture and then they hold their hand up and say, you know what, I judged you. You know what I mean? But I was only afraid of my own greatness. I'm only showing people, and as we all are, we're all just showing somebody something about themselves, you know what I mean? Whether they're ready to own the greatness or whether we're showing something else, like a blind spot within somebody. We're all just mirrors for one another. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? With that, like that has been a big thing for me in the past, and it's now something that I'm very aware of. Because we all do it, we judge something that we don't understand, or we judge something that is different from us. So when I first seen your stuff, it was when you were trying to get me into meditation, and I was just at this brick wall of meditation of fucking get your crystals away from me, don't want to know about it. And so looked at your stuff and was like, don't get it. Don't get the words, don't get the language, don't get any of it. It's not for me. And now, even though, like you said, I'm a million miles away from where I want to be and the person that I want to be, I knew that coming into today, that I judged you that way in the past. So I spent an hour this morning going through your content again so that I could ask you questions and not let that be a barrier for this conversation today. And it was, for me, like a little moment of, that I wouldn't have done that a year ago. And it's allowed a better conversation today. It's allowed me to then think of questions to ask you to understand your way of thinking. And I think,
well, really, you want to understand yourself.
Well, yeah.
You're not really wanting to understand me. I mean, there's an extension to that, but really you want to understand parts of you that, that you're inspired to investigate now. Do you know what I mean? And then within that, there's so much, the growth and the transformation that comes from that. And the service, because that extends not just into your personal endeavours, but your professional endeavours,
I think,
sorry, we were speaking. Sorry,
just to cap that off. I think that for people, that for me is the biggest thing that people are missing when they judge someone else. When you go like, I could have, if I'd have stayed in that fixed mindset of Martin Bone, Muppet, what's he talking about? Don't get it. Like, we never would have had this conversation. And I'd be no better off. I could then couldn't grow as a person, couldn't have this conversation, couldn't expand my knowledge. Do you know what I mean? And people do that all the time. They look at someone who's dressed differently and go, Muppet.
Yeah, that's it.
What the fuck's that? Why are you driving that RAV4?
Yeah,
Shithead. Why are you turning up at the gym in a RAV4?
Yeah.
Oh, you're shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they
And
don't
lots of
get to
people will.
speak you.
People will.
Yeah. People
will
won't get to
think that.
speak to you then.
You know, people do look at your Instagram and go,
What's
"What the
it?
fuck?"
I mean, listen, people are going to accept me. People are going to reject me.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you've got to be cool with it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like, I'm absolutely cool with it. I'm not here to fucking explain myself.
Yeah.
I'm not here to, like, to be liked. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? You know, I'm actually here to be myself.
Yeah, and because of that, you will attract the people that actually, and the people who don't can just.
It's
fuck
all
off.
good. You know what I mean?
It's like your moustache lad. People are gonna laugh at your
People
moustache.
are gonna
But
laugh at the moustache.
Some
but
people
so
are gonna respect it.
yeah, I think it's cool.
Same lad, it's cool as
it's
fuck.
like, it is what it is. It's just a thing on my face.
Well, what happens is, you know, what happens, what isn't celebrated most of the time is uniqueness.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Is actually going, wow, you're unique. You know what I mean? I like how you look. I like how you talk. I like how you dress. I like how you eat food. What food? And so we've all got, you know, but we're afraid to stand out. We're afraid to be unique. We're afraid to be ourselves. We're afraid to be authentic. Most people don't even know how to be themselves. And this is the thing.
Yeah.
You know, when someone else, you probably heard it many times, you know, when people feel like I'm lost or whatever. And feeling a bit lost is actually, for me, a good thing, because there's a state of confusion where you're wanting to go from one paradigm to another, but you're going from the known to the unknown.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's okay.
Yeah.
You've got to be okay not knowing. You know what I mean? That's a big thing. But where was I going with that one then? What was I about to talk about? What was it? Being authentic. Let me circle back for a minute. Being yourself.
Yeah.
You know, people say, just be yourself. You know what I mean? And you're like, I don't know who I am.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the big thing about investigating, turning the gaze back on yourself and knowing a bit more about who you are, what you want, where you're going, who you want to hang around with, what food, you know, what routes do you want to, you know, drive towards, what things you want to entertain. Because we just fit in. It's just like, I'm just going to fit in.
Yeah.
Because we're longing to belong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're looking for ourselves.
Yeah.
We're looking to be ourselves, but then we subordinate our own authentic desires just to fit into somebody else's model. And this is what I'm so inspired to teach in Liverpool. It's like, actually wake up. Let's fucking wake up. Let's style your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let's reprogram let's upgrade.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's upgrading things outside of themselves, the car, the phone, the clothes, the this, the that. No one's upgrading themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, no one's got an iPhone fucking 4 anymore. Do you know what I mean? They've all got the latest model.
Yeah.
And so and that's where it comes with the mindset. People are just still fixed in a mindset that they've been in probably for maybe 5-10 years, you know what I mean? And it takes immense courage and awareness to say, I am done with this fucking CD that I've been playing each and every day, this same song, this same story. You know what I mean? I'm going to break free from it.
Yeah.
I'm going to break free from it. You know what I mean? And when you do that, wow, your world opens up.
Yeah.
Things like that, oh my God. And there's a creative display out there, and you start to feast on newness, new things, you know what I mean? And you move towards, you know, and you're enchanted by it, you know what I mean? And it's only because instead of being afraid of the unknown, it's about being excited for it. You know what I mean? And if you can just change that one little perspective for people, they go, wow, I'm going to try new things. I'm going to say yes to life, because it's all like, nah, lad, shite, lad. Nah, not for me, lad. And you're just like, you are fucking, your bandwidth of awareness is about this thin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And you just navigating life, same shit, different day. And they're so fucking bored of themselves. And they're so boring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're dying to break free from it.
Yeah.
Just takes one time to look in the mirror and say, you fucking liar.
Yeah.
Stop lying to yourself. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's sick.
Yeah, I love that.
You need to clip that for your Instagram, because that was a beautiful monologue.
That was
but
good.
That's what I want this program to be. That's why I've pulled you in. I want it to blow people's minds open, to be like, oh my God, what the fuck have I been doing for the last 15 years? If I want to be a millionaire, I can be. If I want to be fucking massive, then I can be.
Yeah.
If I want to fucking sell all my possessions and go and live in a caravan because that's what I want to do, then I've now got the courage to go and be able to do it.
Yeah.
And just giving people the actual fucking understanding that you can craft your life exactly how the fuck you want it, and giving them the courage to do that.
Being excited by like the unknown as well, like what you said. Like instead of like that, I love that like you fear the unknown at first, and then when you realise, okay, well, I'm not going to die with this unknown thing, you can then start getting a little bit excited about going to find that unknown. So
Yeah.
like this conversation today, I'm like, I wonder what he's going to speak about. I wonder how I'm going to think about that. And it's like, you then go into it going, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
This could be exciting. Like, or even when you feel certain emotions and you know things trigger certain emotions, getting excited as to why you feel that way. So why do you judge people? Instead of going like hating on yourself and like filling yourself with loads of negative self-talk, like, oh my God, I'm always hating on people. Like I'm always judging people. I'm terrible for that. Like shifting that and going, I'm always judging people. I wonder why.
Yeah.
And then exploring it a little bit
course,
more, and then
unpicking you know that state of, okay, wow, all right, I'm labeling someone here, I'm judging someone. The reason we do that is because we're so identified with our identity, so we're so attached onto our self-image, and that creates separation. You know what I mean? So that separation is me and you. You're over there, I'm over here, and so at a primal level, because we are so attached onto this egoic identity, and as I said before, we do everything to protect it or to promote it. It creates a level of judgment where it's like, are you better than me? You know what I mean? I need to be better than you. I need to be faster than you, stronger than you. I can have him, or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, for me, it's a scarcity mindset again. Do you know what I mean? It's a mindset which is insecure. It's incomplete. It's fearful. You know what I mean? And so again, within the sort of meditation realms, if people start to activate a stronger sense of awareness, which is just mental fitness, then you can start to notice part of your identity, and then you can untangle it, because you think, I'm judging this person. What is it? And really, you're just projecting something about yourself onto that person. That person's only a mirror. You know what I mean? Yeah, you might be judging something about that person, which is how you perceive them. So it all comes down to perception. How one person might perceive someone one way, and another person might perceive the same person in a completely different way. So it's all a matter of perception. And when you notice how you're perceiving the world, from which the filter you see the world, you can turn the gaze back and go, okay, what's going on for me here? Well, there's just levels of insecurity, there's levels of scarcity, I'm afraid, I'm competing, I'm comparing, I'm judging, all this stuff. And then once you can notice it, you can unpick it. But you can unpick it compassionately. Do you know what I mean? You unpick it compassionately, and you start to shine a light on your own stuff. This is called human behavior. I don't like the word spirituality, you know what I mean? Because there's so many connotations to spirituality. Fuck that. Like you said before, crystals, leg, all that, you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with crystals, by the way, do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with, wearing, going vegan, or wearing yoga pants, or fucking got, tattoos, with symbols on or whatever. There's nothing wrong with all that. Do you know what I mean? But inevitably, I think for me, spirituality, how I perceive it to be, and what I try to extend it out for people to understand, is connectedness, is presence. And if you're present and you're connected to that present moment experience, and you're certainly taking an ownership of your own behavior, which gives you the opportunity to upgrade, to clean up, you know what I mean? To clean your own house out. And then there's just, you feel more centered, more grounded, more connected. And then that gives you an opportunity to rest in authentic relationships, honest, beautiful relationships that thrive. You know what I mean? And so that connectedness starts with you, but extends to others. So I feel connected personally, which is me. And then I feel connected to you. So the me becomes we.
Yeah.
And the we becomes us. And then there's that's what we're designed for. We're designed for common unity, to commune with others, and to share time and space in loveness, not in fear and competition.
Yeah. Sick. I want to go back to something you said before, when you said when we were speaking about your clients, everyone's looking for what they can get, not what they can give.
Yeah.
What is it about? So in my experience, when I give more, I get more.
Yeah.
And I think everyone would sort of clock that in business and fucking relationships and whatever.
Did you read that book I mentioned? The Go-Giver? No? Fantastic book. If you haven't read it, it's a short story, but it's about 5 lessons in business. So it's somehow a business book, but it's actually a short story.
Yeah.
And it gives 5 lessons throughout the whole story, and one of them is
about giving.
Give more than you receive.
Yeah.
And I've written the 5 things down there behind my laptop in the office at home.
Yeah.
Because it was fantastic, but you've just reminded me of that. It's a fantastic book. But yeah, like, sorry to cut you off. I just had to.
No.
I was there and it had to come out.
No, I don't worry. I think I need to get back on the reading. Lads fell off.
Yeah.
I feel like a fucking muppet. You know, I said to Ross a few episodes ago, it's like all these muppets who don't read.
Yeah.
No, I'm not reading. I was like, I need to sort that out. But when you when people are trying to excel in life, they're looking to do something, and then right, what can I get out of right? I've been going to the gym for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What can I get? Like, I don't look any different yet. Fuck this. Whereas like, if you forget about what you can get out of the situation, if you start a business and you don't make any money for 3 years, you might give up. But forget about what you can get out of the situation. And if you just focus on what you can give, not necessarily in terms of like give to other people, but you wake up every day and you give 100%, you just execute everything that needs to be done, and you forget about the outcome. Usually that results in actually people then excelling at a certain point. It just happens.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, and this is in the More Than Muscle program, something I think is huge, is like, realistically, we don't all want to be monks, but also at the same time, we all don't want to be like billionaire CEOs. We want to be able to find a balance between becoming and excelling in life and achieving all the things that we want to achieve, whilst also being present along the way. Yeah. So how does one balance? Because I like, you obviously have created a reputation, you seem to be doing well in business. How do you balance being present and being authentic with also making sure that you are like living in the real world and executing and doing all the things that need to get done day to day?
I think being and becoming are two wonderful concepts, you know what I mean, of like being present now. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, because this is where life actually is. You know, there's a great quote by John Lennon, you know, life happens when you're busy making plans, you know, and we miss it. We actually just miss now, this now moment. So being here now is, for me, I'm actually fulfilling my destiny, being here now, totally. Do you know what I mean? In my totality. And there's something beautiful about that, because I feel connected to myself, but I also feel connected to everyone in the room. So there's a state of presence here, which is liberating. You know what I mean? There's a state of freedom here. I feel relaxed and I feel open. And we all have a desire to be open and to relax and to you know, and that's not always the case, you know, in the present moment's experience. Because sometimes, you know, when we're present, you'll either again accept the moment and relax into it, or reject the moment and feel a little bit maybe suspicious, you know. But then you've got this becoming, you know, this like, okay, I'm moving towards something, you know what I mean? And I think if sometimes we don't even know what is it that we want to move towards, do you know what I mean? If you have an idea of what is that you want to create, because we have an opportunity to express ourselves and create in that process, you know what I mean? So I think if you have an idea of, you know, I mean, we're all artists. Everyone's an artist, you know what I mean? You know, everyone's a musician. What music do you want to, and not in the sense of create music, but what symphony do you want to create, you know, in your life? What picture do you want to paint? Do you know what I mean? Because we're not painting our own picture. You know, we're not putting our own jigsaw pieces together. We're living somebody else's life. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So having that sense of, okay, this is what I want to move towards. It might not be your vocation. You might be in a little job that you're happy, you're totally happy with, but then have, you know, a life outside of that as well. You know what I mean? So it's not always about, it's not so black and white vocation and. Do you know what I mean?
Your passion doesn't have to earn you money.
It doesn't, exactly. Exactly. And that allows, maybe, this is where the service comes in as well, because, you know, your service to others might not be within your vocation, do you know what I mean? If it is, great. If it's not, also great. Do you know what I mean? You know, I think first and foremost, we have to serve ourselves. Yeah. I think we really do. And that is honouring your own experience. You know, nobody was sent here to look after me. Nobody was sent here to serve me. So I've got to make sure I get my ass out of bed and make sure that my fucking cups are full. Do you know what I mean? That starts with having a routine. You know, I'm filling my physical cup up. You know, I'm getting into nature. I've got some healthy habits. You know, I eat well, but I also I've got that meditation practice. I'm hanging around with people I love. I feel rich.
Yeah.
This is living a rich life.
Yeah.
I feel wealthy. Do you know what I mean? And that is how I navigate my culture each and every day, 7 days a week. But there is this state of, moving towards something. Like I like to look, instead of having like, what's your 10-year plan? It's like, I don't look that far ahead. You know what I mean? I tend to maybe go about 6 months in advance. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm always changing. Things always change in and around me as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Living a life of awareness, things change much quicker.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared to shed skin. And as much as I feel grounded and steadfast, and there is a consistent flow with my life, I probably look about 6 months in advance and look at, what's alive for me? What is it that what I'm creating? And within that creating, am I in a win-win dynamic? And the win-win dynamic is, am I, anchoring a state of well-being within myself, but also am I serving others in the process? That's an abundant mindset. You know what I mean? So if I tend to look forward, what are my vision? What are my values? And make sure that I'm placing my attention on a daily basis towards the intention of what I'm trying to create. Do you know what I mean? I think the golden nugget for me is to do without any attachment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we get attached to a goal in the future, and then sometimes we drive really hard. We actually push into pain to achieve something in the future, because we're actually underneath that, we're looking to just be happy and fulfilled.
Yeah.
So actually, it is about becoming, and it is about having some destinations. But having a destination without an attachment, the journey is driven by an abundant mindset rather than a scarcity one. Like I'm already happy. I'm good just living day to day. I'm moving towards something. And within that journey, there's a win-win attitude, how I'm navigating life, rather than, right, I've got, this is what it looks like. It's a 5-year plan and I'm just driving towards it. I'm getting up even earlier. I'm pushing harder. And it's like, you're probably not having fun.
And when you get there, you're going to be fucking depressed anyway.
Well, what happens is you get there, and because the mindset is destination driven, you get there and straight away you go, what's next?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you're in the what's next syndrome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rather than going, okay, I'm moving towards something, I'm becoming, I'm enjoying the journey along the way.
Yeah.
But I'm not attached to the outcome. If the outcome happens, sound. If it doesn't happen, equally sound. Do you know what I mean? And that's the golden nugget for me. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember the 4-liner that you gave in our course?
Yeah. So there's mitigate, cover all bases. So I think it's
No, that's not it. You said, I think you just came off the cuff with it.
Yeah,
No, I've actually got it written down.
Yeah, I know off the top of my head.
It went into the program. I told everyone on the very last video. I said, Martin
cover
Bowen
all
said
bases.
this. No, it was plan for the best.
Yeah, plan for the
Make
expect
peace with the worst.
No, it's make peace with the worst. Expect the best. Detach from any outcome. Be spontaneous along the way, but have fun along the way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And within that, you can almost extend that to show up.
Yeah.
Be present. Life's not about the legacy. Sometimes life's about it's the little things. It's how you show up each day.
Yeah.
And if you show up each day, the cream rises to the top. You create a legacy anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's a legacy. It doesn't have to be something great. Do small things in a great way.
Yeah.
Fucking smile, open a door because you can. Do you know what I mean?
Just give, and you will get.
But the thing is, it's about being yourself.
Yeah.
Don't give to receive.
Yeah.
Give because you can.
Yeah.
And you'll naturally give and serve if you're being yourself. You're just being yourself and you're good and you're in that okayness. Chances you're going to give anyway.
Yeah.
People are going to feel it.
Even if you don't necessarily intend to it, the energy will radiate.
Exactly. And that is powerful enough in itself. And then if you've got an attitude of service, it supercharges it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, you got superpowers now, do you know what I mean? Because your intention is to serve others while serving yourself.
Yeah.
It's a win-win attitude. Because sometimes we can serve others and forget about ourselves. So we end up spinning other people's plates.
Yeah.
And then we have loose boundaries and a lack of respect and compassion for ourselves.
Yeah.
That's going to lower your self-worth.
Yeah.
That's going to polarize your attitude and you become a lot more reactive. And within that, there becomes more inner anger and resentment.
Yeah.
So it's important you look after yourself first whilst extending the attitude so that I want to serve others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're in a win-win. when you're in a win-win, chances are you're more neutral, you're more proactive, you're more open-minded. Chances are you're having fun. You're celebrating life. You're being celebrated. It's a game changer.
Yeah.
And all this stuff, that I'm spitting out today, it's what I teach. You know what I mean? Like anyone who's just still banging on this drunk meditation, not for me, Martin Bowen. It's like, just come and sit, just come and have a go. You know what I mean? Because I'm just talking about life here. Yeah. I'm talking about human behavior. I'm talking about being empowered. I'm talking about being connected. I'm talking about being present. I'm talking about, fucking taking accountability, showing up, taking responsibility and celebrating life along the way. That is sacred.
Yeah.
That is fucking sacred. Do you know what I mean? And if we can get into that space of, people go, sacred? What's he on about now? I'll fucking leg him. Do you know what I mean? Sacredness is connectedness. Do you know what I mean? And it's what we're all longing for.
Yeah.
And when we remember this feeling, when we embody this feeling each and every day, wow, you'll feel wealthy, you'll feel rich.
Yeah.
I'm a rich man. You know what I mean? Not because of the money. Yeah, the money helps, you know what I mean? And I get to use the money abundantly to share my life and to pay for the things that I love. But at the end of the day, it's about, we're already abundance. Why am I waiting to get paid to feel abundance?
Yeah.
I'm already abundance.
Yeah.
And you'll feel that abundance when you live your own mini culture and you create a life which is purposeful to you and you're in a win-win attitude. And it's game changer.
So everyone, if you want what he's just said, join the Modern Muscle program, because that is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Should we end it there?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
meet you,
Probably
Jack.
one of the best podcast episodes we've done.
That's one of my favourites.
Awesome. Thank you. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Yeah.
Have a fucking great weekend, gents.
Where can everyone find you, Martin?
Quite a private guy. I don't want anyone to find me anymore. You know what I mean? Funny joke.
You're quick, run to Liverpool podcast studios.
Nah, you know what? Like, as much as I love being out in the public eye, and as much as I love sharing myself with the world, and I have a value in connecting with others, I am also, pretty private man, you know what I mean? And my circles are small. So when I'm in work, I'll show up and I'll give you my best. And then, when I'm in my own culture, I keep myself to myself. But, if people want to find me, I've got a website there. So it's www.martinbowenmeditation.com. There's loads of wonderful information on there about the ecosystem of information that I share over a number of courses. I've also got an Instagram account, you know what I mean? So check out the Instagram, send me an email. The invitation is to, if I've triggered something inside of you, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing today, great, because I've triggered you and I'm here to trigger you. In fact, I'm here to be myself, and I know that's just going to trigger people. So all good. But if you see me about and you want to have a conversation, I'm always in Sefton Park walking a dog. I like drinking good coffee, and I do actually like having great conversations. So, if you want to catch me if you can, you know what I mean? I'll be about, I'm just mooching about, and I'm always, I'm a man about town. I like to eat some good food around some good places. So if you see me and you want to chat and you want to say hello, then knock yourself out, you know what I mean? I'm a pretty open guy, and I'll try and give you my time and space whenever I can. So yeah, that's me.
Boss. No, in all seriousness, and I'll keep joking about the Modern Muscle program, right? But everything that Martin's just encapsulated, creating authenticity in your life, actually living the life that you actually want to live, creating the conditions for yourself to just be free from this social bullshit that we try and recreate in our own lives through insecurity. Just creating the courage to actually be yourself, create the life that you want to lead. That's what it's all about. So it's going to be launching in August. Martin, we haven't discussed the date yet, but Martin's going to basically be doing a 3-hour intensive.
Yeah, 3 or 4 hour nice intensive workshop.
Just a nice little delve into the soul.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So if you have any inquiries about that, if you're interested, just drop me a message on Instagram. You know where to find me. Jack, have you got anything going on at the minute?
Something, but it's not getting spoken about yet.
Oh.
Nice. Mysterious.
Something. Yeah,
Nice.
mysterious.
Lovely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Boss, thank you all for listening.
Yeah,
Leave us a
peace out. Have a great weekend.
5-star review, nothing less.
Nice.